Oh,
Hi, everyone. Welcome to A New View. I'm Kim, and I'm here with Shira, Lee, and Juji. We are four friends, speakers, and professionals from different cultures, backgrounds, and age groups coming together to offer healing and inspiration. Today, we are going to discuss the power of affirmations. Who wants to start us off?
I will. Affirmations. Oh my goodness. I have a lot to say about this. One, because I love affirmations and I partake in saying affirmations every single morning. But another, because Kim, you and we've had this ritual for a year now, about a year, where and it's been such an amazing ritual for me. And I always want to hold on to it. So Kim and we leave affirmations for each other every morning. It's for us, but for the other. And it's been motivating and inspiring. And it almost kind of also makes you feel like you're accountable, like this is what I need to do. And it keeps me on track. But what's been so beautiful is that, when we first started these affirmations, and not like, we weren't kind of good at this stuff before, but I mean, I just feel like we've gotten so good at these affirmations, and these affirmations turn into manifestations. And that's the whole point of them, to say words and to have them ultimately turn into real stuff in our life. And of course, there are other things in between that we can discuss and talk about. But these affirmations have been wonderful on a daily basis. We miss a day here and there, but very
Wait,
rarely.
is it literally like you text like, I'm affirming this today, like a one sentence kind of thing?
Yeah. So what I love is using voice text, and I think Kim does too. So we've just done that. It's so easy. You don't need to dial any number or whatever. Boom. So I'll give you an example. And I usually just really shoot from the hip every morning, but this sets it really sets the tone for my day every day. And I try also, as soon as I wake up, to think of something and set an intention. So that sets my tone too. But an example would be, I am a powerful being. I am so courageous, and I am loved, and I give love, and I am surrounded by amazing people, and things around me give me joy, and I feel satisfaction in everything that I do. And I am getting better at things that I do, and I am successful, and my life is so abundant. So just an example. And sometimes we focus on one topic, and we can go on and on and on about it, or sometimes we just whatever it is. And we sometimes have themes.
I was just going to say,
Yeah.
Lee has themes all the time. I just follow her lead half the time, but she'll be like, today I'm going to talk about money, or today I'm going to talk about love, or it's so cute. And then I'll be like, I'm rich, I'm abundant, I own 3 homes. Like, I'll just follow her lead.
Money loves me.
Money loves me. Money's my best friend. Like, we just go on and on. We make it fun. And I think that's important, is just making it an enjoyable experience, because at the end of the day, it's all about just, changing the pattern of thought in your mind, because we all know words are crazy powerful. Thoughts are crazy powerful. And they what's that saying? Words become things. Mm-hmm. So I say, make it fun. Some people would say I am beautiful, and it would feel very false and not true, or, whatever they want to say. And I think you just have to stick with it. If you have any sort of desire to change your life in some way and attract these things, even if you don't believe what you're saying, stick with it, because the whole point of saying positive statements over and over and over in repetition is eventually, and this is like a scientific process, it's called neuroplasticity. Your brain has the ability to change its way of thinking. Like, I'm not going to go into this whole scientific explanation. You could Google it, but it's a physical change in your brain. So if you just stick with it over and over and over, even if you forget a day here and there, whatever, Lee and I forget, here and there. But when you do it, I think eventually it starts to be fun. Just be playful with it. It's something that is a part of our practice, and it really works, right, Lee?
It really
It
does, actually.
does. It
Yeah.
works. It works.
There's
But also, I was going to say also about the belief part. I think that you do start to believe certain things that are the most challenging that you can say. Let's say somebody's broke and they're like, I have a lot of money, I'm rich. It's hard to believe that when you're not in that. But I think that if you can get yourself into a mind frame, and a lot of stuff that you just discussed, Kim, Joe Dispenza talks about with the neuroplasticity and the beliefs and the thoughts, and one thing leads to another to lead to reality and actual manifestation. But you have to get through these things. And one of the most important things is, he always says, combine intention with, what is it, the feeling or something like that, the belief
Emotion.
and the intention. Yeah.
Emotion.
And yeah, so if you feel it, if you can imagine in your mind that you are rich, and keep doing it over and over again, but really feel like somebody just gave you a huge check or whatever, that's when things start to happen. And it's, these manifestations, they start with simple words, but they can be so powerful.
It's also a patience game. Everything we talk about, when we say the word practice, it's patience. That's it. There's just no two ways about it. It's not going to happen tomorrow. It's not going to happen next week. If you think about how long people have been alive, like, I'm 57 years old, and it took me, it takes time because you're already conditioned the other way. So you have to say to yourself, well, how's that working for you? Like, whatever you're saying in your brain, like, how's that been working for you? Good. If not, then there are opportunities to change. And I think I've mentioned to you all this amazing book called What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. The guy has a really cool name. I think it was Shed Helmstetter, something like that.
Helmstetter, yes. Because
Helmstetter? I don't think it was Helmstetter. Oh, maybe it is.
He did all this research about Olympic athletes and how they would really work so hard on their self-talk in order to win that gold medal. And so then he went away and was like, I'm going to test this out. And he was very overweight, and he spent, well, I don't know, I might be exaggerating, but he was overweight and he wanted to lose weight. And he said, how can I do that to lose weight? So he spent months preparing these recordings, because that's what the Olympic athletes would do. They would record themselves saying all of these amazing affirmations. So he went away and did that. He wrote scripts for months about his accomplishments and his goals and his this and his that. And then he went to a professional recording studio, made like a 15-minute tape, and professionally, and then listened to it. And in like a 3-week period of listening to it every day while he shaved and got dressed in the bathroom, he lost like 28 pounds and didn't change anything in his life. Like, he didn't eat any different. He didn't exercise any different. He didn't do anything. And his wife.
Well, that's not true. That's not true that he didn't. You can't do the same things that you're doing and lose the weight just by saying it. He obviously did different things. No, he absolutely did different things.
I read an article that he didn't make any big lifestyle changes except listen to that recording on a daily. I don't necessarily know if he was like eating very poorly, or like, I don't know what his whole regimen was, but
I'm just saying, logically, he can't be eating pizzas and donuts and saying, I'm thin, or whatever he said to himself, and lose weight. Like, but you were just about to say the thing about the wife, which is really interesting.
Well, this is the thing. He said, I'm going to go back and read this. He said, I didn't do anything different. Now, I don't know what his eating habits were. He may not have had bad eating habits. But he said that he didn't do anything different. And in 3 weeks, he naturally lost 28 pounds. And his wife, who they had a shared, 2-sink situation, she would just naturally hear these recordings because she'd be putting on her makeup or whatever. And then she lost like 15 pounds, not even expecting to. It's just interesting. It's just,
they should sell those. They should sell those, and they'll have a lot of money.
If you go on YouTube, they're all over the place. Not his.
I've heard of that. I have heard of that.
I wanted to say something about the book, because yes, that is the same book, because I remember hearing that he made these affirmations, and then the wife was, cleaning herself up in the other room, and she lost weight too. But one of the things that he says that's so interesting is that I love metaphors, and that our mind is like software, and we need to override the information that's already in there. So when you think of your brain and your mind as preconditioned or pre-bought software that you need to override, and how do you override it? You just keep saying different things until it's overridden. And I just think that's a really important analogy for people that they can get. They're like, oh, this is doable. It's a doable thing.
Yeah.
I know that this is going to be like really off into the other direction, but my like first memory of like hearing about affirmations and knowing about affirmations was in the show Sex and the City, which, as you all know, I love this show so much. And Charlotte, who I guess is considered the most woo-woo out of all of them, was in a really like tough period of her life, and she bought a book about affirmations. And so she started like writing them and putting them on her mirror. And the woman who wrote the book was giving a lecture. So she drags her friend Carrie with her. And Carrie is like the most cynical of all of the characters. And so, you know, the woman is saying like, okay, it's time for questions. And Charlotte gets up and says, hey, you know, I've been practicing these affirmations and like nothing is happening. And the woman was like, well, maybe you just haven't been saying them enough, or like, maybe it hasn't been long enough or whatever. And like, you know, Carrie grabs the microphone and she's like, oh, she's saying them enough, you know? And like, I just remember being like, what a load of crap. Like, what a load of crap all of this is. My like 18-year-old brain was like, adults are weird. You know what I mean? But at the time, it's like, I was too young to understand how much gets built up in there. You know, it's like after 30, 40 years of feedback, your brain is not where it was when you were 18 years old, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, like, yay, everything's just going to be like sunshine and rainbows. And like, if I just work really hard, everything's going to be wonderful. Like, you like go through your first divorce, and you like declare bankruptcy.
Life brings
know.
you down to your knees, you know, those moments.
Shit happens.
I have to just ask, were you really 18 when Sex and the City was on air?
Yeah,
Oh my
girl.
gosh, you're a baby.
Yikes.
I was a baby.
By
And
the way,
it was also kind of inappropriate for me to be watching this show, because I was like, that's what adulthood is going to be like. Like, I'm just going to have 800 pairs of shoes, you know?
when you started saying about, I watched a show, blah, 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 I thought you were going to say when, I forgot his name, Al Franken did on Saturday Night Live, he would look into the television camera and he goes, I'm good enough and I'm smart enough and doggone it, people like me. And that set off this whole affirmation mania, but people were mostly making fun of it. But that was my first recollection of it. And it was definitely in the 80s, early 80s. I don't remember exactly when it was, but it was such a character that he did. And it became a recurring character about how he would just like, look into the mirror. I'm good enough. I'm smart. So it was like making fun of what we're talking about now that we now know to be a thing.
Yeah.
Interesting, the evolution of affirmations.
It's not only a thing, it really, really works when you hear words, when you say words or hear words over and over again. And that's kind of also been, I think, proven with, you know, young kids. So if a child is being raised and they get words, actually, you know, I'll use an example of my ex. He used to tell me that he was always put down. You're no good. His father, it's terrible, but like his father used to say, you're no good, you'll be nothing, you'll amount to nothing. And he never felt worthy, you know, aside from other things in the marriage, just he never felt worthy. And he always felt like, I will not be good or good enough. And then, you know, when you have a child and you raise them with, you're beautiful, you're amazing, you're confident, you're so strong, you're courageous. They grow up believing that, regardless of, you know, what they're doing in their life and how they're treating others. Like they grow up with confidence, hopefully not arrogance, but it is something that's instilled in them, I think, at a young age as well. So this is almost like, I feel like the affirmations that I'm doing today are me instilling these good things in me, you know, and also to outside of just how I feel about myself, you know, which is pretty good, but trying to, you know, it's wild to think about it, how words and visualization and trust and belief and these thoughts, like they really, really can materialize into the things that we want. And again, that's all about the law of attraction, which fascinates me. And it's very interesting. I mean, one of the, I think the movie The Secret, have you guys seen it
yeah.
or heard of it?
Yeah, long time ago.
Yeah, that's been on for a long time. I think it's on Netflix or whatever. And there's been others, you know, since then. But that was a big one, I think, for a lot of just everyday people to just kind of, it was an eye opener
It was
about
very
like,
controversial though, too. It's pretty controversial because I remember there was a woman on there who was talking about like she had cancer or whatever. And she's like, I don't have cancer. I don't have cancer. And she's like, and then I went into remission after 3 months. And you know what? A lot of people were pretty angry about that because then they started doing their own. Meanwhile, it's like if you have advanced cancer, there were some parts of that movie that, and I read the book also, that were a little misleading because people think like, oh, sort of what you just said, Kim, with the guy who wrote the book, What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. It's not just the I'm saying it, I'm saying it, I'm saying it, and then it happens. It's you're saying it, you're saying it, you're saying it, and then you come up with ideas, different ideas that you haven't done before to reach your goal or to become the person you want to become. You can't not change the behavior. The point is that by saying new things to yourself, you are moving yourself in a different direction. All of it, emotion, behavior, words. That's kind of an important nugget, I think, because I don't want us to be professing. It's just like, all you have to do is say the things and then you become the thing. It's like, no, it's not that easy.
no, certainly not. And, you know, like with the cancer thing, like, I mean, spontaneous remissions, they have happened and people
That's
have
true.
gotten into their own spirituality and inner selves and somehow whatever happened. It doesn't mean it's going to happen for everybody. You know, there's plenty of stories about people that are very spiritual and have tried that. And if, you know, yes, if your disease is so, you know, so progressed, it's who knows? Yeah, nobody can really ever state that that's going to happen if you do this or that. But
Yeah, I think that's a really good point though to bring up. Really good point, because it's really just your mindset is shifting, your thoughts are shifting. So like you said, all of a sudden, if you make this a practice, again, everything comes down to practice, 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 then things all of a sudden shift because your mind has shifted, your perception has shifted, your belief has shifted. So you might all of a sudden attract something. You know, like a good example is when Lee and I started, I think it all started from that Post-it, Lee. I was really just fed up with the job that I was doing.
oh yeah,
And I wrote
I remember
a Post-it. I wrote a Post-it and I took a picture of it and I sent it to Lee and she was like, this is amazing. And the Post-it said, I don't need this job. Everybody wants me. I am in total demand, or something like that.
I know
And
exactly now when it was. It was March of 2021. Because I was about to move to Florida and I was just getting a new job for when I move. And I was like, but the job here and I don't know. And I'm like, you know what, fuck it. Like your Post-it inspired me to believe and to say and trust that like, I don't need this job that I have right now. I can leave it. It's fine.
Right. So it just replaced a thought of, oh, what if I need this job, or what am I going to do about a job? It like replaced the fear and the anxiety. It released that. And now you had this new focus of, oh, what if I don't need this job? And it's just an empowering thought, but it shifted and swapped out with the other thought. And then that's where your focus was. So that's what you attracted. So that's what we're kind of really talking about here. And I have to tell you that Post-it changed my life. I mean, I'm not kidding you. My phone was ringing off the hook with all these other opportunities. And was it because I said those words once? No, but over time, you know how like it takes like a 30 days to like make a new habit, like really form it, and it just becomes innate, like brushing your teeth. whatever, you know? And that's kind of what I did. And I never stopped since then because I found it to be, I liked the results I was getting. And I liked how I was feeling because affirmations really are designed to make you believe good. And our brains don't naturally go to the good, you know?
Yeah, they are empowering. They are very empowering. And you feel like the power of your life and how it's going to continue is in your hands. And that's a wonderful, but yet scary thing to know at the same time sometimes, because it's like, where am I going with this? What can I do? You know?
Yeah, I just want to also say that sometimes combining some of the tactics that we talk about in our conversations is really important. So for example, combining affirmations and visualization, I think we sort of touched on this before, but when you literally combine the two, it's like affirmations on acid because our imaginations are so incredibly strong if we allow them to be, like people who are creative. And I believe we're all creative. We all have some form of creativity. But when you literally close your eyes, and I do this when I meditate in the morning, I have a whole section that I call I am. I literally I do it all to music. And I say, I close my eyes and I just say, I am. And whatever I want to be, I just use that adjective. Like I will say things like, I am growing, learning, expanding, becoming, transforming, manifesting, attracting. And I just say these words and the more I say, like the bigger I become. But when you close your eyes and you say it, there's just this very much connection to, I know we were talking about higher power before, but there's just this connection to yourself, to your heart, like aligning your heart and your mind together. It's really, really powerful. And I have a very funny story, not funny, it's kind of interesting. So in the neighborhood that I raised my kids in, one of my best friends lived a few houses away and her son was like 7 years old. And he tells me to this day, he tells me the story. He goes, remember Shira, when we were in my backyard, he was trying to like throw the baseball up in the air and then hit it. And he kept missing and he was getting really frustrated. And I'm talking to my neighbor, but I'm watching him out of the corner of my eye. And I just walked over to him and I said, Shane, I have a little tip for you. I said, just be still, right? Just put the bat down, put the ball down. I just want you to stand here and I want you to close your eyes and I want you to imagine that you do it exactly the way you want to. And not only do you hit the ball, but you're going to hit it into the other people's fence, into their yard. And he did. He like stood there for like a good minute or two. And he was just like, okay. And wouldn't you know it, he literally, the very next shot, just threw, boom, into the other people's yards. And he just looked at me, the two of us looked at each other and we were like,
yeah. And that's the beautiful power of visualization. You know, they do that with athletes. They do that with
Yes.
athletes on Olympic teams, like Michael Phelps, like has also used it, I believe. And you know, you're visualizing winning, you're visualizing the end goal, and you're visualizing being in there. So what I just wanted to also point out, exactly to your point, Shira, is the way that the wording that actually Joe Dispenza uses is combining an intention with an elevated emotion. So you have an intention and you have an elevated emotion. So if you can get to that state, it's a beautiful thing.
yeah.
You know?
And not to beat yourself up if you don't feel something. If you're just saying the words, at least you're trying, at least you're making one step toward creating the life you want, right? It's like, it might take a while. I have a friend who things don't happen and she's like, I'm done. And okay, you know, I mean, it's her journey. You know, I encourage her to keep it going, but we're all at different places in our lives. So just, you know, just be gentle with yourself and
Don't give up. Just don't give up.
Whether it's on a Post-it or like in your phone when your alarm goes off, just one little sentence can change your life.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a great place to wrap, ladies. Well, we hope you love this episode. And if you like our show, please subscribe and feel free to make any comments down below or suggest any topics, we would love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching and stay safe, everybody.
Bye.